Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss books. And first of all, let me apologize because there was no video at all last week, but I got more work and it had to be done faster. My deadline was ridiculous. So basically last week I was just waking up, working and going back to bed. So I just did not have any second to spare the whole week, which also means I have not been reading much, but that's another one of my problems this month. But today we're gonna keep it positive because I'm here to discuss with you things that I plan to read in the month of October.
It's coffee time.
As I have just spoiled for you in the intro, my month of September has not been the greatest so far because I have been ridiculously busy with work at the moment. I'm taking more work than usual. Life is getting more expensive. I like too many books. No, I mean, to be honest, I just have the opportunity now to do more work of something that I really enjoy, so I'm just going for it, which means sadly that sometimes I don't have so much time for reading. But well, like I said, we're keeping it positive, and October is going to be a great month because it is the official spooky month. And I'm also going to join the Gothtober Readathon. So the Gothtober Readathon, it is hosted by some lovely ladies. I'm gonna leave the link to everything down below in the description. And I love that they put so much effort and so much work into it, that the prompts that you get are super individual, and the way that they have created this website for you to get the prompts, it's just amazing. So since the prompts are not the same for everybody, I'm gonna leave down below as well the link that you need to click to go to the website, and then you will simply have to answer some questions. They're basically gonna ask you questions of how you would handle a horror hostile situation in order to give you your own prompts for these readathon. I'm also happy to announce that they have asked me to join them in some reading sprints, so I will join them for 3 reading sprints during the month of October. I will post it on Twitter for the weeks that I will be joining them and exactly when and at what time. And even if you're not participating, come and join us so that we can all read together or use it as productivity sprints. So I have in this little notebook my prompts because, like I said, they're very personalized. So these are the ones that I got, and I have tried to double up a little bit because, let's be honest, I already didn't have enough time to read in September. It was a really horrible reading month for me, so I just do not want to put too much pressure on myself. And honestly, this is already a lot of books, so we'll see if I get to them. But let's get to the prompts because I absolutely loved how many prompts you get and how original some of them are. And before we go to my prompts, let me tell you that the theme they chose this year for the Gothtober Readathon is amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. It is Final Girl, you know, the Final Girls. Absolutely love it. You know, guys, I love Final Girls and those kind of slasher stories with Final Girls, so I am extra excited to participate and join them this year as well. And I did double up on some of these because my reading month in September has been kind of non-existent. It's kind of been depressing, and so I don't want to put that pressure on myself in October, even though I do have a lot of books to read in October. I have the books for the Gothtober Readathon, and I have also 2 new releases that I would like to read, so the pile is a little bit big. But let's get to the prompts. Prompt number 1 is to read a gothic mood book. So I decided to make it easy on myself, and for this one to pick a middle grade that has kind of like a haunted house theme, which is quite gothic. So I have chosen The Hunting by Lindsay Duga. This is a book in which a 12-year-old girl that has known nothing but the cold and poverty gets adopted by a family and gets to go and live in their home, which is this beautiful manor. So I already love the setting and the story. So basically we follow the girl as she moves into this new place, and she's trying to adapt, you know, to her new family and this new place, but there's something else in the house with them. I think there's some sort of ghost. I mean, it's called The Hunting, so you know, the cover kind of hints you towards a ghost, so I'm hoping this is going to be a creepy kind of hunting story. Our next prompt is to read a book you have been avoiding. So it's not that I've been avoiding this book, but I have had this book for such a long time. I think it's been on my TBR pile a couple of times and I never got to it, and I feel like at this point I'm just avoiding it a little bit. And that is The Whisper Man by Alex North. This is a thriller and I loved the synopsis so much and I was so excited about it, and then I don't know what happened. It's one of those books that, you know, you just kind of lose the interest a little bit and then you never pick it up. So it's basically about this father that after losing his wife, he decides to move with his son to a new town looking for a fresh start, you know, a new beginning. And the problem is that in this town, there's apparently something that comes to take the children away. It knocks on the window and it's called the Whisper Man. It whispers to the kids. So that's what I know. It sounded creepy, you know, it has kids and this kind of Whisper Man, and I was excited about it. And like I said, I've had this book for so long, so I feel like it's time. And also, you know, a thriller now for spooky season, it's also cool. I love to read thrillers in winter, so I hope that finally I'm gonna give this one a chance. The next prompt is to read a slasher, and honestly I wanted to read here Clown in a Cornfield 2, Brenda Lives by Adam Caesar, but I just couldn't stop myself and I already read it in September. So I had to pick up another one, and I decided to pick up The Last Girl by Goldie Moldavsky. I think this is the one that it's also called the Mary Shelley's Club or something like that. So I had this one on my TBR at one point and I started reading it, but I only read like 10 pages and I didn't have time and I kind of forgot about it, but I want to get back to it because this is a YA slasher. And the main character is a new girl at a school. She loves horror movies. Horror is her comfort. She knows all the rules of all the horror movies. So you get the vibe of why I have been meaning to read this book. And basically the people in that new school prank each other. Some kind of like horror pranks, I think. And then one of those pranks goes wrong or turns to be real, something like that. So there's kind of like a slasher that happens in this book. And I'm all for it. So yeah, like I said, I tried to read it at one point, but I only made it like 10 pages in. I guess I was just not in the mood that day or whatever, and then I forgot about it. So hopefully this time around I'll get into it, because this one just sounds like one of those books that I'm supposed to love, and I hope that's gonna be the case. For the next prompt, I really struggle because I don't really have a book that fits this premise. It is to read a helpful or handy nonfiction book, and I feel like all of the nonfiction books that I have that could be in this category I've already read. So I decided to pick up one of my true crime books, even though it's not really helpful. But it is a book that I've also kind of had and avoided a little bit because I know it's gonna be a really heavy topic because I already know the story, and that is House of Horrors by Nigel Cawthorne. So if you are not familiar with the story, this is about this Austrian guy who is an absolute disgusting monster of a person that kept his daughter, one of his daughters, for 24 years in his basement, and he would take advantage of her, for not saying harsher words in this video, and he had children with her, and some of those children also were trapped with her for years in that basement. So after those 24 years, the police finally found her and some of those kids, and they rescued them. And I was like, when I heard about this case the first time, I was absolutely appalled and disgusted about that. And I watched a documentary about it, and I just, you know, my mind just cannot comprehend how somebody can do something like that. And I stumbled upon this book, I think in a secondhand bookstore or something, and I decided to pick it up, and I kind of have been avoiding it because it is a really heavy subject matter, but it is one of those you know, true crime non-fiction books that I have not read yet, that is not too long. So we'll see, I'll pick it up and hopefully I can get through it. So the next two prompts, I have combined them together in one book. It's also a new release that I was excited about, that I recently purchased, so I was glad that this one fit. And the prompts were to read a book by an BIPOC author and to read a book with LGBTQ plus characters. So I have combined these two, and I'm gonna read Burn Down, Rise Up by Vincent Tirado. So the author is non-binary, Afro-Latin, and Bronx native, and the book sounds absolutely fantastic, and this cover is also stunning, so of course I had to pick it up. So our main character realizes that in the Bronx a lot of people have went missing, and she decides that, you know, there's not much that she can do, because if she goes to the police they only care about white people. But then her cousin disappears and she decides that it's time to do something about it. So our two main characters, which I believe are 15, start investigating, and they discover something about an urban legend called the Echo Game. So that's what I know, and I'm super intrigued and excited about this one, and I just cannot wait to see how it is. All right, moving on to our next prompt. I got to read a book with a disability representation, and I was trying to look for something that I had on my bookshelves, which is hard because sadly we don't get so many books with a character that has a disability, but I was able to find one on my shelves, and that is Endurance by Jack Kilbourne, and I picked this one up. I think it was in a flea market that I found this, and I was so excited, and now it's time to read it. I've heard it is a lot. I've heard it is really intense, probably when it comes to the gore, but I think I can take it. So this is about an inn, and apparently when you check in, that's it. You're just never allowed to leave, something like that. And one of our characters that checks into this hotel is this old veteran that is, I believe, missing both her legs, and that's where disability comes into play in this book. So I'm not really sure what to expect. I've also never heard anybody talking about this book. Like I said, I just found it randomly on a flea market, and I picked it up because it sounded great. So yeah, don't know what to expect, but I'm excited. Then I'm gonna be doubling up again in challenges. The next one is to read a book with blood on the cover or on the title, and I'm gonna use The Last Girl that I've mentioned before because there's blood splatter all over it, so I'm gonna count that as blood. And the other prompt is to read a book with an isolated setting, and I'm gonna count The Hunting because we are in an isolated mansion. It is an isolated setting for me. I'm just counting it, I'm stretching it because I just need to combine as many of these prompts as I can. And for the last prompt, I think I'm cheating a little bit, but you know what? It is what it is. We just cannot have every single thing in our shelves. This one is really hard to know as well if any book actually has this in it. So the prompt is to read a book with a training montage or an extensive training. So I don't really know if I have any of those that I have not read yet, but there is a book that I've been meaning to read that was first published in 1978, and I got the re-release, and that is Dawn of the Dead by George R. Romero and Susanna Sparrow. So because here humanity gets suddenly confronted with the fact that they are zombies and they have to defend themselves. Sometimes in these TV shows, in movies, there is a little montage where they get ready for the fight. You see the stretch there? I'm stretching. So I'm counting that as, you know, a training montage, getting ready. We're counting it. And I haven't read a zombie book for a while, so yeah, I just really want to get to this one. And apart from the books that I have chosen for my Gothtober Readathon themed Final Girl, I also have two new releases that I really want to read, so I'm gonna try to push them in October as well. One of them is obviously Fairy Tale by Stephen King. I finally got the copy that I wanted. I pre-ordered this on Amazon, then the book came out. They said it was gonna be delivered around the 13th of September. After the 13th of September passed, they said they didn't know when they were gonna deliver it, so I had to rush to the city, go to a bookstore, see if I could find this exact edition that I wanted, which they only had 2 copies of, and buy it and cancel my Amazon order. Because I just like this cover so much more than the other one, so I really wanted this one. I believe this is more of a fantasy book though, and it is the story of a 17-year-old boy that inherits the keys to a parallel world in which good and evil are at war, and I'm guessing, you know, he's gonna be the one that has to help save the world. I don't know, I'm excited. You know, everything that Stephen King puts out there, you know, guys, I'm gonna read it. I just love his stories so much, and he's such a talented writer that you might enjoy his books more or not, but you know, the way that he writes is just so mesmerizing to me. I just absolutely love to read his books, so really exciting to read this chunker of a boy. And the other book that I am gonna read in October, because I have been expecting this book for so long, is a book that also was just delivered to me the other day, and the cover is possibly one of my favorite covers of all times. This cover is absolutely stunning, and that is Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman. So the story follows Erin, and she wants to leave her past behind, and that includes her ex-boyfriend from college. So her ex-boyfriend calls her and asks for help to bail him out of rehab, but she ignores him, and then he's found dead due to an overdose. So Erin has been carrying that guilt, and she feels like if she would have helped him, if she would have reached out, then maybe he wouldn't have died. So it's still kind of like this guilt that is eating her up. I absolutely love this book. I took a look at the chapters and the way they are designed, and the titles is absolutely amazing. I just cannot wait. And you guys know I love horror stories that also address grief, and I think this is gonna be one of those. It might also break me. Who knows? But I mean, this cover, come on you guys, it is absolutely stunning. It is beautiful, and it's not too long, so I'm really excited to get to this one. Alright guys, so that is everything that I plan on reading in October. It's a little bit much, you know, taking into consideration that at the moment I'm still really busy, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try to have a schedule to read a little bit every single day so that I can, you know, get through some of these books. Maybe not all of them, but I'll try my best. Plus, I have the reading sprints that I will be also doing with the people that are organizing the Gothtober Readathon. So those are gonna push me as well to get some reading done, which I'm really happy about because I need to be pushed. Let me know, you guys, if you are participating in this readathon as well, and what have you planned to read during spooky season. And also, let me already tell you, November is going to be again the Evil-a-thon, so get yourselves ready for reading a lot of horror in November. Alright guys, so thank you so much for all your support and understanding, because I didn't upload anything at all last week. I was just way too busy. So thank you so much, you guys, for patiently waiting for the next video, and I hope to see you all, as always, in our next coffee time. Bye!